The day is officially here. The NBA Finals, Boston versus Dallas, the Celtics, Mavericks. We got storylines on both sides. And only thing that's bittersweet is the last playoff series, the last basketball we get to watch. So let's enjoy these next 2 weeks. Potential next 2 weeks if it goes all 7 before the offseason begins. But let's get right into it. Let's break this down. We already recapped the previous playoff matchups already in the last NBA episode, so make sure you guys check that out. But let's get right into it. You want to get storylines? You want to go into key factors, what's going to happen, or just get into it?
Just get into it. All right, let's talk about the game first. So there's no doubting that the star power belongs to the Dallas Mavericks, and there's no doubting that the overall starting five belongs to the Boston Celtics. Right, coming into it, the Dallas Mavericks have the best player in the series, arguably the best too, depending on how good Kyrie Irving plays. But obviously, I'm not going to disrespect Brown and Tatum that much. But then you look at the other side, you have Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis back now, Horford playing pretty well.
Payton Pritchard
coming off the bench, but like the starting five and looking at it as a whole, it just fits. And it's going to be, I know Minnesota is the toughest best defensive team in the NBA, but this will be a tougher matchup for the Dallas Mavericks for sure, because you want to switch on to Rudy Gobert, right? And I feel like you do want to switch on to Al Horford, but Al Horford would do a much better job than Rudy Gobert in my opinion, because I feel like the Celtics just have all five players could switch, right? Tatum could go on Luka, Tatum could go on a big. That's just how it works, and that's why they're so good.
You could take the switch, which is what they'll do, but the problem is when you're funneling Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns or even Naz Reid whenever he's on, you're funneling them to, Jaden McDaniels is good, but if Kyrie's staying on the perimeter, why would he leave Kyrie Irving? So you're funneling them to guys like Anthony Edwards, who's good, don't get me wrong, and whoever else is on the court, whether it be Kyle Anderson, whether it be Mike Conley, smaller guys compared to Luka Doncic, or even Kyrie, similar size to Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving's craftiness. In this case, you take one of those two bigs out, you take them to the thing, you go by Jason Tatum, 6'10", right? 6'9", 10, around there. Jaylen Brown, who's defended guys like Pascal Siakam in the past, right? Then you have two of the best, they are the best backcourt defense in the NBA right now, and two of the best perimeter defenders, in my opinion, Drew Holiday being the best perimeter defender in the NBA right now, right? So it's to your point, it's gonna be tough overall, right? And that's where it is kind of like the NHL one, when we're going to talk about the NHL one on the next episode, where one team has the star power, but the other team has the team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, then they have the two-man combo.
And the experience.
Yeah.
And the experience.
No, but to be fair, I'm going to say this. One thing about the experience. There is experience. But Chris Knobloch, Edmonton Oilers coach, made a pretty good analogy where he says, well, even though, in this case, I'm talking about NHL right now, but it makes sense here because you mentioned the experience. The Buffalo Bills also had Super Bowl experience, and look where it got them, right? So, I mean,
it's a factor, right? Like,
it's a factor, but there's
so many times it worked and it hasn't worked. Okay, wow.
But no, I'm saying, like, for a coach's mentality,
I know that's a good example.
That's something that Jason Kidd could use himself, just being like, well, look where the Buffalo Bills got them, right? So
just look at the Buffalo Bills. I mean, yeah, the experience is key at the end of the day. Look at this. We just saw a big series of why the Dallas Mavericks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have never played in the Eastern Conference Finals in like 20 years, or Western Conference Finals in like 20 years, and they will never play in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's what costed them in that series, because one, they were tired, they just didn't know what they're doing.
The star power.
Look at the Indiana Pacers, right? They were just freaking running up and down, even if they had a 20-point lead, trying not to kill any clock at all. And look what that got them. So experience is definitely key. So you can't, that's why I kind of disagree with Knobloch in terms of, like, it sounds like he kind of brushed it off. But but it's a good mentality to have.
A guy that preaches experience anyway. So
yeah,
saying I had to.
You definitely have more experience than me.
Sure.
Kind of born in the ice ages now, almost.
Not that much older than you.
Yeah, you are, bro. Like,
compared 6 years.
Compared to, like,
5.5 years.
That's pretty big, like, a sibling gap.
Yeah.
Especially compared to, like,
I've seen sibling gaps for also 20 years.
Yeah, I know, but, like, especially compared to all our cousins and stuff, they're, like, 2-3 years.
No.
I feel like we're the only one that's actually, like, far apart in terms of And I'm not saying like the firstborn to a thirdborn.
I was about to say, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
and Masi. Stuff like that.
But that stuff happens.
Okay, I know.
That happens all the time. But coming back to the Celtics, complacency. They have never really been tested in this playoffs. So this is the first real test. Hoping nobody gets injured in terms of star power. I don't know if they're doing some
This is back too.
friggin' black magic injuring the other team's best player
Yeah.
somehow in every series. But overall, they're gonna face. They haven't faced adversity, so that could kind of hurt them because if they face it in this series, they might not be able to come out of it, right? Because they haven't really faced it at all in this playoff run. But on flip side, the Dallas Mavericks, I feel like each squad got better and better, right, as they played on. Maybe Thunder and Clippers are like kind of similar, but in terms of like the playoff performers,
They're similar only because like Kawhi was not when he did play. He was and he was
like personally, I like injured Kawhi. Then you got a young Thunder squad. I'll take the young Thunder squad over the Clipper squad at this run.
Yeah.
And I will take the Timberwolves squad over the Thunder squad because we just saw the Timberwolves freaking beat the defending champions. And honestly, I was the only one convinced that it might go 7. You were too, I'm pretty sure. At least 6-7.
Which one? This one that just happened?
Timberwolves and the Mavericks.
Oh yeah.
And now you're facing the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's kind of like both teams are kind of facing their best competition right now as well.
Yeah,
It makes sense. Yeah, it's a final.
I'll be Dallas 100% because they're playing the Celtics, right? Off the bat. And then
And obviously it's the finals. It makes sense. That's what.
no, I get what you're saying because like obviously. So let's get into the sticking with the matchup. I'm gonna talk about Dallas here. You want to get into the X factors right now too?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
So Dallas for me, they have 0% chance of winning if Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving both do not show up. The only, I guess, caveat to that is if Kyrie does not get the points, but a guy like PJ Washington and another person steps up, and Kyrie's doing the playmaking, right? And I'm not saying just in the points aspect. I'm saying like taking care of the ball. They have to be a little bit more efficient. I'm not saying they have to be like they have to be how Anthony Edwards was with pick and choose his shots. Still shoot the ball when you need to, but if they're efficient, like if Luka comes out like he did in Game 6 against Game 5, against Minnesota, then like that's what you need, right? If that I'm gonna give him a chance to win the series. If it's like the OKC Luka in that series, it worked against OKC, but it's not gonna work against this Boston team, right?
That's true, yeah.
And so they both, in my opinion, need to play amazing. It doesn't have to be by points factor, but not just the points, but taking care of the ball, their shot selection. When yes, we know that they could hit, like Luka will hit the crazy step back shot when he needs to, but don't be too reliant on that, which we know he isn't. We know his bread and butter is like that, put him in the post, spin fadeaway thing that he does, right? Kyrie Irving on the flip side is, we know, again, my opinion, the most skilled basketball player in the NBA right now, probably one of them all time. You could argue him, Iverson. We're not here for that debate right now, but the question with him is he gonna get rattled in Boston like we have seen in the past? Listen, the way we've seen Kyrie Irving this year, it looks like it won't be, right? He came out and apologized. He's like, I should not have been doing that. I should have not done the flip the birds, the middle fingers, step on, like do the sage, go step on the logo at the middle, all that stuff. Listen, Boston crowd is still gonna go on his ass. He's like,
100%.
Next to what, A-Rod, and I forget maybe one more person that he's probably the most hated guy in Boston sports history.
David Ortiz, man.
No, there was a list that Halford and Bruff mentioned. That's what I was trying to think of. A-Rod off the bat, even if I didn't have a list, it makes sense. David Ortiz, why would he be hated in Boston?
Oh, no, yeah. He'll be in New York.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
Never mind.
You want to say Jeter.
Jeter.
Yeah, so, like, is he going to... And then everything's shown this year that he's doing some type of meditation or something because he's the calmest he's been since Cleveland, right? Ever since, like...
He's on his Deontay Wilder shit.
But better.
But it actually works.
But it's better. Right? We're not saying he's doing ayahuasca or anything like that. We don't know any of that stuff. Yeah. So we're not putting that out in the universe. So, that's obviously storyline mixed in with this X Factor. But for me, the X Factor ultimately will be PJ Washington. All right? Or a third scorer. But in this case, PJ Washington. Because he has shown that he could, when those guys get doubled, which they will get a lot. Because Drew Holiday himself came out and said, pray. and during media day today when they said, how are you going to guard Kyrie Irving? Drew Holiday himself said pray. And he's the best perimeter defender, best perimeter defender, or at least guard-wise in the NBA, in my opinion. Right? Again, people could pick and choose who the best overall defender is. And because of that, you're going to get open shots, whether that be alley-oops or whatever to Gap. Or, Lively, open shots with PJ Washington or even Derrick Jones Jr. Off the bench, you got Josh Green. Or if Tim plays, him and all those guys.
So for me, X Factor, PJ Washington is fair. Kyrie Irving is also fair in this, but like I'm just gonna put him in the Luka star category, and like expecting him just to show up no matter what happens. I'm gonna go with their big rotation, right? Pick and roll is a big part of their offense, and we've seen both their bigs play excellent in that. I think Lively is a little bit better in terms of actually making a play himself as well than Gafford. But overall, I think these bigs are going to have to be big on both sides of the ball. And obviously, they're going to be essential in this pick and roll offense. Honestly, if you go to pick a weakness at the Celtics, it has to be their center position at the moment, right?
Which is still pretty good.
Which is
because
really
Porzingis arguably had an all-star year.
Like Porzingis coming off injury, that's the only thing you could try to attack.
Yeah, rusty.
And then Horford is playing exceptionally well, but compared to the other four, Horford's the weakest player. So if their bigs could just show up and like try to expose that matchup and try to make that into their favor, like how they did the Timberwolves one, and they could win the paint battle, that would be absolutely huge for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, the reason, on the Celtics, that's probably their weakest point.
Like the paint is, like on both sides of the ball, I think Celtics paint is the weakest because they don't really attack the basket on the offense.
But on the flip side, you mentioned experience, and Lively's a rookie. That's number one.
That's true, but that's why they're
Gafford hasn't been.
That's why they're X factor.
Yeah, fair. That's a fair argument. But before we flip over to the Boston side, let's just talk about the Kyrie Irving storyline very quickly, a little bit more to it. How lethal do you expect Boston fans to be, essentially, the minute he steps on the court for warm-up?
Boston fans are brutal.
Yeah.
So they boo Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They boo Tom Brady.
They're up there with Philly.
So what the hell are they gonna do to Kyrie Irving? So like, just simple as that, right? That's
what I'm saying. Like, if Tom Brady's one of the most beloved figures in Massachusetts sports history, probably not just even that area. Kyrie Irving's the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, so he's finished in terms of like getting ripped.
Do you expect him to keep his composure like he has all year?
Yeah.
Or do you expect him to crash like he has in the past?
No, he's fine. And Kyrie Irving got this in terms of he's going to play basketball.
Kyrie Irving went from like one of the more hated guys in the NBA world to one of the more, like, we forgive you, Kyrie. Because like, not just because like he wasn't, he's
just so good.
Yeah, he's so good. It's hard to be mad at him, but when he does dumb shit. But like this year, people like, I think I was on the Nick Shook's Twitch. And shout out Nick Shook. We had him on the podcast a couple times talking NFL. And we're talking NBA. Like I was in his chat. We're talking NBA. And he's like, because he's from Cleveland, so he loves Kyrie in that sense, and he helped him get a championship in his home for his favorite team. But he's like, all the shit Kyrie Irving's done, it just made me forget like everything, and I just love the dude again.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's what it
essentially.
Like. But Boston fans are not going to forget.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Especially if it's a factor in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to rip into him. He's going to be singled out as a target, and honestly, Luka should be smiling because most of the fires should be going to Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And Luka could get away with it, which might kind of backfire on the Boston fans because they're too focused on the Kyrie and not trying to rattle.
Yeah, listen, we've seen Luka get shit talked on, and he just shuts them up.
He does, yeah.
And talk shit back.
And then especially, that's what Kyrie's going to get absolutely drilled.
All right, let's talk about the Boston Celtics now, but let's stick on the storyline angle here because it's not as big as Kyrie returning to Boston and all that drama in the past that he has in that city. Kristaps Porzingis going up against Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks for the first time. Not for the first time, sorry. In a big setting, right? And remember, he was supposed to be that Robin to Luka being Batman. And Mark Cuban said in the past, like, his biggest regret was when he made this trade, when he made the trade with the Knicks, was he didn't bring back Steve Nash for that Steve and the Nash and Dirk combo that worked very well for the early parts of Nash's career before he went back to Phoenix. And ultimately, it did not work out, right? People were labeling Kristaps Porzingis as a 7'4" shooting guard. That's all he's been doing.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out, so they ended up trading him away. And and all said in history. So Kendrick Perkins. Kristaps Porzingis has a lot of, proving to do that. Like, listen, you should have not traded me away. I still could have been that guy. Obviously, media trying to. I think Chandler Parsons said like, well, they hate each other, blah blah blah. Luka said no, me and him are boys. I don't know. Like, I've never talked to Chandler Parsons in my life. So that angle, like, we have and listen, Kristaps Porzingis had a great after that trade has been amazing outside of the injuries, right? He was
pretty good. Yeah,
really good.
Pretty good.
And then with Boston, he was arguably at the third best. He is their third best player in my opinion, which says a lot about Drew Holiday in terms of like Drew Holiday is really good, so that you could have a debate. But Kristaps Porzingis arguably could have been an all-star this year.
That's
how
true.
good that team was. So he,
Yeah, essentially. So it's not going to be as much as Kyrie, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no like bad,
but it's a storyline. That is for sure, right? Like at the end of the day, we're gonna look at all this, pick apart, and see what happens in terms of
like
these storylines,
factors,
right? These motivating factors, right? And I don't think you need any extra motivation. You're playing in the NBA Finals, right? You should be extra motivated because, or your fuel shouldn't be because I'm playing my former.
No, hey, listen, we watched The Last Dance. Jordan finds some type of way to motivate himself.
I know, but the motivation, that's him to get the extra level.
Yeah.
The base motivation is you're playing with the NBA Finals.
Yeah, so this is like extra.
This is just, just to get it over the top, right?
Yeah.
And get the tank to full.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. But obviously this adds more.
Yeah.
Both of those players.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. And overall, yeah, it's going to be a fun storyline series, like we said. I don't know. Was there another thing? Something with a kid trading like a previous, like this is a stretch one.
Okay, I have no clue.
It was like,
the two obvious ones are right.
like someone traded a pick. I don't know if it was like for Jaylen Brown or something, like the Jaylen Brown. I don't remember.
There's a
It was a
Grant Williams trade.
It was a stretch. I'm just saying it's a stretch. I'm just not gonna bring it up. Yeah. It was just a stretch. But going to Boston and their X factors now, I'm just gonna come out and say it's probably gonna be Drew Holiday and how he's gonna lock down Luka Doncic
or Kyrie
Irving, depending on whoever he's on.
I feel like Jaylen Brown gets the Luka matchup.
Yeah, because of the size. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so Holiday on Kyrie, most likely to see how he locks him down. One of the best skilled players in the NBA. In the NBA's history in general.
And if he is getting cooked, can he contribute offensively to offset some of that? Like he did in that Pacers series, because he struggled to start the playoffs, but then he got better in his offensive game.
Yeah, as well. So can we see the two-way ability? If we see the two-way ability of Drew Holiday show up, it's gonna be rough for Dallas.
Yeah, no, I you took my X factor. It is Drew Holiday for me because I arguably believe he's the third best player. I wanted to say at the beginning of the year, obviously. They don't care. I'm just saying, like, from a media perspective, from like us analyzing, it is Drew Holiday. You could throw in a Derek or Kristaps Porzingis. How is he gonna look, right? Because again, if Kyrie Irving gets switched on Al Horford, I feel like Porzingis at least has the bigger length and maybe a little bit more mobility than a guy like Al Horford to keep him in front of him and funnel him. So in that sense, I would say Kristaps Porzingis because he's coming back from an injury as well, and we'll see how he goes. Like, will he? Because he knows he will feel pressured. Not just because it's the NBA Finals, but also because he is playing Dallas and he wants to prove a point. Like, we all know that. And but like for me, listen, if Drew Holiday especially is clicking on both ends, it's gonna be a long night for Dallas.
It will be a long night, yeah.
And we have listen, the Boston Celtics have a lot to prove, right? And we'll talk about this not debate, but we'll pose the question right now because it's gonna be tied to what I'm gonna talk about right now. Because the Celtics, since the Tatum draft, has 6 out of 8 conference finals, now 2 NBA finals, blown a 2-0 lead to lose the NBA finals to the Golden State Warriors in 2021. Who needs the title more, right? Is it Jason Tatum or Luka Doncic? Because Boston had the easiest path this year as well for an NBA final between the two teams.
Yeah, so
for me, there's one answer.
Who needs the title more? For me, if I'm looking at player, is Luka Doncic. If I'm looking at team, it's probably the Boston Celtics. In terms of what you said. Because of the 6 of 8 in these last 8 years, they made 6 conference finals. They haven't got the job done. So as a collective for me, that like the Celtics, should have been an NBA champion in these last 8 years, right? There's no ifs and buts about it because if you're making that many conference finals.
Why Luka? Because my answer was not Luka. Just to make that clear.
But Luka, if I'm looking at player, Luka Doncic, when he was drafted, Jason Tatum at the end of the day, he was supposed to be a guy, right? Like a guy in the NBA. I'm talking about NBA. I'm not talking about like on the Celtics. He's a guy. I'm talking about when Luka had that buzz that this guy's going to be the best player in the NBA, Jason Tatum did not have that buzz, right?
Okay,
Luka Doncic,
okay.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, yeah.
Luka Doncic has that comparison to LeBron James, right? In terms of play style and how this guy could take over the league, and which he did in his rookie year. Luka Doncic hasn't won anything. Like no hardware, no individual awards, except for Rookie of the Year. But like the MVP of the league, this guy's gonna win these many MVPs. He probably should have been back to back. Could have been back to back already if the voters went in his direction. Could have won one this year. He has got nothing. All the hype, but Luka has nothing to show for it except for just him being incredible on the court.
Okay.
So in terms of the hype, the legacy factor that Luka has to bring, this NBA title is more important to Luka than Jason Tatum.
Here's the thing, right? I'm not sure if I can pull up some stats. Luka is obviously younger than Tatum because I know he got drafted a year or two later. I think it was a year later, right? He was in the 8 draft. I disagree. I think it's Jason Tatum because of that team factor as well ties into it. Jason Tatum is not like there's the whole media in general. Jason Tatum is being looked at like he is. Yes, you're right. He may have not come in the hype as Luka, but he took the NBA by storm the minute he got into the NBA, right? First year, conference final, big factor. Took LeBron to Game 7. That does not happen when you're a rookie. I'm not saying he was the only guy, right? Kyrie was injured that year as well. Keep that in mind. Second year, the drama comes in. He got out in the second round, I believe, to the Milwaukee Bucks. This was the year you guys won the championship. Bubble came. That's when he took the league by storm and obviously took you guys out in Game 7 and then ultimately lost in the conference finals. Then the year later, this is the year 2021 is a forgetful year in sports for me because we were literally talking about this off camera, like who won the Champions League, what was the route of the Stanley Cup and all that. They got bounced in the first round. I do not remember that at all.
It was about a Nets.
He looked at it. Then after that, he's emerged. The team has emerged. You put this team around, and I'm emphasizing team as well. But Jason Tatum needs this to shut people up, in my opinion, because now it's getting to the point where people are saying like, is it his team or is it Jaylen Brown's team? I still think it's Jason Tatum's team, right? You've been coming on the pod saying like I should not be calling him a superstar based on my definition of a superstar.
Yeah,
I still think he is that, right? He still got voted. We mentioned last time out of the 9 voters, I believe he still got 4, so he was still almost won the conference MVP because he still put the points out there. And there are moments where that make him look bad, and in this playoffs because it should be an easy route, which it was. But they made it look complicated in certain factors, especially in that conference finals, even though it was a sweep. I think Jason Tatum wins this. He shuts people up because this is the first time Luka has a proper team around him that he could do this with. Jason Tatum had always the support from the front office, the coaching staff, teammates. Luka never had that. Kristaps Porzingis has been injured. Then he did not fit well with him. You had, I think they went from Rick Carlisle to Luka Doncic. They struggled. Kid.
Luka Doncic coaching.
Sorry, kid. Right? Last year, did not make the playoffs. Right? So I don't think from him when he made the Kyrie Irving trade. Listen, Jordan didn't win his first championship, and it's been a while since he won it, like 28 or something, right? Like he won his first in 1990. He was drafted in 84.
Yeah.
And you keep in mind he's also a 3-year college player.
Yeah.
Right? Kobe's an exception. Take him out of it. I think he won in his 4th year. Right? LeBron had to go to the Heat and win. Right? So the narrative of putting, like, I hate the fact that, like, we're, like, now Joel Embiid is at that age where we have to criticize him for not winning a championship because he is 28, almost, like, 30 years old, I believe. Right? And the vets like Harden and Paul and whatever. I hate, like, giving the young guy, like, oh, this is his first year in the NBA Finals. He has to win a championship as soon as he gets it. That's why I disagree with you there, because this is his second trip to the conference finals, first trip to the NBA Finals, and he did it as a 5th seed. They're our underdogs for a reason. So based on that, I'm like, it has to be Jason Tatum because of that, because he had all the support. And because how he went into the NBA, you're, again, to your point earlier, he was not as hyped. But once he made his name in the NBA, so it's been elevated. He's been all NBA first many times as well.
So the question is, who needs a title more, Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum?
The answer
Right.
is obviously both. But if we
it's a player thing,
yeah,
right? What you described everything is like why the Celtics need it more.
yeah, no, but that involves Jason Tatum.
Yes, that involves Jason Tatum. But when you're looking to be imagine how much pressure Wemby's gonna get.
Yeah,
Right? It's just like Wemby has more hype than Luka in terms of the draft and stuff. And this guy, the Boston Celtics are gonna be talked about if Jason Tatum is there or not, right? They're just that team. The reason why we talk about the Mavericks is because of Luka Doncic.
yeah, fair.
Ever since Dirk got regressed, nobody cared about the Mavericks up until when Luka Doncic came, and he legit single-handedly almost became the savior already. And just
He became the savior. Literally, he was the savior.
yeah, and comparison to LeBron James, this title, what could benefit him in this title that will help propel maybe a LeBron James talk? I'm not talking about like GOAT, but like I'm talking about like a career trajectory. He did it on his own team, where LeBron had to leave. That could give him an edge as well
True.
in this conversation and in his legacy, right? We came into Luka Doncic talking about how this guy's just going to change the NBA, right? Just when he was in Real Madrid, balling out.
Yeah.
And then now he's actually doing it on the court, but then again, has nothing to show for it. Not even, I know it's his first finals appearance.
Yeah, but that's my point, right? Just as Jason Tatum's second finals appearance, he's supposed to be the guy on the team, right? And he got the support of his team with him. Yet if he struggles in this and does not win a championship, and he's one of the factors of that, that's going to ruin his legacy even more. If he wins a championship in Boston, he's going to be beloved, especially if he's a big factor, in which he should be the big factor if they're going to win the championship, right? I feel like all the talk about Jason Tatum's going to be gone. He got his championship. Then the Luka talks will rise after this year. I'm saying after this year.
So,
Because, again, Jason Tatum's route to the finals was easy compared to Luka Doncic's,
yeah.
right? Jason Tatum is the favorite to win this championship this year. And also be the guy to do, and being it as the guy, I'm sure I didn't check the betting gods, I'm sure he's a favorite for my finals MVP as well. Maybe it is Luka Doncic because of a player level, but if you're saying usually the winning team gets it, if Boston is the favorite, which I think they are, then obviously I think Tatum's supposed to be the favorite to win. Because of that, like, you can't let another final slip away, right? Because either or, if he loses this, Luka will get all the praise and everything. His pressure will rise if he doesn't win it this year, and if he struggles next year especially. Jason Tatum, I feel like, because you said it's Boston as well, that media market, that city as a whole will not let this live down if they do not win it this year, and Jason Tatum, and it's because of Jason Tatum.
So here's another way I'd try to look at it. And who could make the final back? Who could make the finals back? Like, which squad can make the finals back again pretty easily? In my opinion, it's the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And there's no question about that.
Isn't the West.
Right.
Pending offseason moves.
Yeah, obviously. The Western Conference, you're going to have a Spurs coming into it in like 2 years, right? A year, depending on what they even do this year. They could be back next year, right?
Just put on the back burner for right now.
The Lakers are already in the conversation. Nuggets are going to be there and still going to stay there. The Timberwolves are there. Thunder up and coming. The Pelicans, hopefully a healthy Zion, they're going to be there. The Clippers obviously going to have the aspirations. Much more competitive in the West than it is the East to make the NBA Finals, which means it's much more easier to get an opportunity. Jason Tatum has a much more easier chance than getting back into the NBA Finals, even if he loses again.
But I just feel like if he just gets it out of the way now, talks are done.
Same with Luka. If he gets out of the way, the pressure is gone.
But again, my point is Jason Tatum, 6 out of 8. Second finals appearance. Luka's never had the supporting cast Jason Tatum has as well, right? You could say the team, and that's fine.
Yeah, but the narrative is
but
that...
the narrative is that
the
if they don't win, Jason...
But
who gets the blame if they never win a championship? It's the lead guy.
But the narrative is that Luka Doncic is supposed to carry a team. That's how good he is.
But that's the narrative Jason Tatum built for himself. If he's all NBA first team, year in and year out, right? Always in MVP discussions as well.
Luka Doncic.
Which is true. But one guy's team, he's leading a team of ballers with him, right? And if that team doesn't win, you know that this is how in sports. People blame, like the Canucks were out. Pettersson gets the blame immediately.
Fairly.
Right?
But fairly.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Jason Tatum doesn't win a championship this year, assuming he doesn't go like LeBron mode in 2018, right? I'm saying like if he's just like normal regular season Jason Tatum, like okay, he's just getting, it's like Luka against the Thunder. Let's just say that. Like if that's Jason Tatum, right? Not efficient, still getting 20 points, but not efficient. He's getting the blame.
Yeah, because he's not playing to his level.
But like again, if he doesn't win the championship, they're gonna look at him, and he's
because he didn't play to his level.
But and then it's been 6 out of 8 years NBA conference finals, and he hasn't been performing in the later part of the playoffs for the last couple of years. Last year, and this year. So and even the NBA, essentially from the NBA finals from 2021.
There's also been so many times where like the lead guy performs and they still lose. Like, does LeBron get all those?
So we have to see what happens after.
Does LeBron get all the blame for the finals he lost to the Warriors? Like he showed up, he just didn't have any help.
But that's different,
right?
We need to see that.
There's a reason why this is a conversation, because Jason Tatum struggles when it mattered the most, right? In the NBA Finals in 2021, in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, right? As the playoffs went on and the games got more and more important, Jason Tatum's playoff run got worse and worse.
Okay, so let me say this, because of that point you said, Luka Doncic, is he more or less likely than Jason Tatum to do what LeBron did in 2018?
Like the Celtics are the better team, so
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So is Luka Doncic, if he
Luka Doncic has a legit opportunity.
Luka Doncic could lose a championship and do what LeBron did, and no one's gonna question. Like you said to LeBron. So I'm using your point against you here. And Luka Doncic,
and I'm using it against you in terms
Luka Doncic is more likely, I think, in my opinion, to perform like LeBron did in 2018 that Jason Tatum will with his.
I'll tell you this right now: if Jason Tatum plays poorly in this final, people are just going to brush him off the conversation in general. Right. Whereas Luka Doncic is always going to be in the conversation no matter what.
But again,
right?
I know you're brushing off the team part, but the team part is a big deal in this because Luka's never had the team that Jason Tatum has for the last 8 years.
Yeah, but the question is which player needs it more? We're not talking about
Jason Tatum, so he could shut people up because
Luka Doncic, because he's supposed to build himself a legacy that he kind of didn't start doing up until this year.
Okay, how old are these guys? I want to look at that too, because I feel like, again,
they're both over 25.
Because next year, Milwaukee still could be a team.
They're both over 25.
So Jason Tatum is, I know we're brushing past our time here. Jason Tatum is currently 26. Luka is currently 25. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 1 year difference. But again, the guy has been in the conference finals for 6 out of 8 years. The guy has been questioned about his.
I just we're just saying the same thing over and over again.
Now, okay, we'll agree or disagree, but like
we're just saying the same thing over again.
But to my point, I think the team aspect matters in this as well.
It matters against any other player except for Luka Doncic, just because of the hype and the hype.
I just think Luka's more loved than Jason Tatum around the NBA in general.
Yeah,
as well. So I feel like people will let him slide for his first NBA Finals, like they kind of did with Jason Tatum the first time. But if you're in 6 out of 8 conference championships and you haven't been performing, I'll close it out here, and you're in your second NBA Finals with the easiest path compared to Luka Doncic, so you're not as bruised up and banged up as a Luka Doncic might be, it's on you to win it this year. And if you don't, I feel like that's why he needs this title more than Luka Doncic, because how easy of a path.
So then my final point is that because of the hype, because of the narrative that Luka already has, because of being this savior, putting the Mavericks back into relevancy, and being the guy, and you have a prime opportunity to like kickstart that this year, and you might not get that opportunity again because you're in a much tougher conference, and your team is not built as the Boston Celtics. You might not get this chance again. Whereas Tatum might. I still think Tatum can get this chance again. I'm not so confident that Luka might get the chance again unless he's again dragging his team. So for that reason, this is the best opportunity Luka Doncic has to kickstart his legacy, kickstart the player that we all, project him to be, which he's already done that. But now it's time to get results.
Okay, well, we'll leave that there. We'll agree to disagree. We'll let the comment section.
But the last thing, we got one last thing predictions,
and the finals MVP prediction.
All right, I'll go first. And I don't know who you're gonna pick, and I feel like you already know who I'm gonna pick. And I really don't want to pick them, but I'm going to pick the Boston Celtics in 6 games. And honestly, I don't know, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Because Jaylen Brown performs really well. Jaylen Brown performed.
Porzingis.
Well, Porzingis would be lucky if he plays more than 20 minutes. Okay, Brown did really well in the 2021 finals.
Yeah.
And, but I'm just going to stick with the easy answer. I'm going to go with Jason Tatum.
Okay, before I give my before I wrap it up with my prediction, it's not going to be an easy finals. I want to make that clear to the audience, right?
Yeah.
Just because we're both picking Boston, because like you alluded to, I'm picking Boston as well. The Mavericks win this title if fill in the blank.
Their 3-point percentage, the 3-point shooting is good, and they don't really have too many off nights from the 3-point range. So that way they could keep the court spread out for Kyrie and Luka the whole entire game.
Okay, mine. I agree with you. Boston in 6. I'm going with Jason Tatum because literally my argument a couple of minutes ago is how he needs a title more and he needs to prove it, and I think he will. Again, I am rooting against them, just to make that clear. We're just being unbiased here. That's our job. We have to be unbiased. But that being said, let's go Mavericks. My Finals MVP will be. I said Jason Tatum. Sorry. To answer my own question that I asked you, the Mavericks win the title if Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving both go 30 plus and essentially do what the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers did, with what LeBron and Kyrie did. Luka and Kyrie need to emulate that and do it in this series. And if they do, they win the championship.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't say that is because I kind of expect them to already do that because they've been doing that kind of.
True, but then it's.
But in each game they did pop off. There was a third element.
Yeah.
Of why they won the game.
So I'll let you have that. I just wanted to go with that.
Yeah. So that. Yeah.
But no, that was actually a fun debate, fun
conversation.
It kind of went.
Luka, you're my dad.
Okay, that came out of nowhere.
Wow,
the guy's like Luka. 3 years older than you.
3 years?
Well, 25, I said. So 4. No, 3. You're turning 22 this year.
You indeed. Oh, yeah.
You're turning 22.
But I'm just trying to say Luka's the right answer. But
no. Okay. Yeah, but no, comment down below what you guys think. And again, once again, enjoy the NBA Finals. It will be fun. So make sure you guys tune in. Like this video. We'll be dropping our NHL predictions next episode as well. Subscribe to the channel. We alluded to, we're dropping a bunch of videos this week as well. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, the post notification bell, so you guys know when the videos come out. Follow our socials, link down below as always. And for the audio listeners, rate, review, and download the podcast on whatever platform you guys listen to. And we appreciate you guys once again, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.